Welcome once again, Roast Nation, to Prime Roast. Chris Cordani and Angie Wong here, and it is cold where I am up in New York. And of course, I guess, Angie, you're snug where you are, I suppose, right?
I've never seen Miami this cold. We're
Miami
seeing,
cold.
yeah, we're seeing like fur coats breaking out. It's only 50 degrees. I mean, I
50
love
degrees, and you
it.
guys think it's cold? What's
I
going on
know.
here? Oh, yeah, it's so cold outside here in New York that I actually saw some guy clean up after his dog. Check this out, with an ice pick.
No.
Yeah,
Ooh,
that's how cold it is. It's so
yeah.
cold here that we're measuring the temperature in Kelvin.
I've been seeing dogs wearing fur coats too, which I think is hysterical. Could you imagine buying a fur coat for your dog? Now, yeah, if it's hairless, but there's not too many hairless dogs these days. So I don't know. Look, it's just a cold front. Enjoy it. I love it personally. I love the Four Seasons.
Not cold.
So
You're not getting 4. That's 50 degrees. That doesn't count
I
as the
know.
4 seasons. What is it? You
I know.
Floridians, like, "Oh, yeah, yeah, it's so cold out here. It's 60 degrees out. I don't know what to do. Should I wear my bathing suit outside, or should I just wear a wool sweater because it's so cold?"
Well, but it's different, right? Because 50 degrees, given the way architecture is here and given the way the homes are built, it's actually really, really cold because it's meant to keep out the heat, right? That's how Miami is built. If you go up to like Vermont or New Hampshire or Maine or anything, those homes are nice and warm and cozy because it's completely insulated. So it is kind of cold, but again, bring
That's
it on.
actually
I love the cold.
That's actually fair. I mean, that's real perspective right there. Even though it can get to the negatives up here and a little farther north, we do understand that if you guys wound up with 30, 20-degree temperatures by some freak reason in Miami, it could be a real problem. I get that.
Yeah, well, yeah, but you know what? You know where it's not cold, Chris?
Oh, this is terrible.
LA. Have you
Yeah.
seen it? It is called, as the New York Post calls it this morning, Hell A. And it's sad. I've actually been up all night, not all night, but for a good portion of last night talking to some friends in LA. They've been sending videos and places I used to go to are completely burnt down. I mean, it's incredible. I've had a lot of friends who had to evacuate Santa Monica and West Hollywood and stuff. It's so desolate. It is incredible that it just, we've seen fires. This fire is just jumping building to building to building. And whatever, bald spots they miss, guess what? The arsonists are coming out. And we've seen videos of that as well. That's what's really, really alarming, that people are taking pleasure in this and,
Oh,
and,
that's
and
terrible. People are
perpetuating
losing
it.
their homes, they're losing their memories. Yeah, when people lose their homes and their places get burned down, a lot of family pictures and movies and things like that, things you can't replace, they go too. And I don't care what class these people are, or their politics are at this point. A lot of people are losing their homes and a big portion of their lives. They're forced to leave. This is not good, and these things shouldn't happen. And dare I say, and I don't want to show pictures. We're prime roast. I'm not going to. You've seen pictures and videos of the flames and everything else, but the incompetence of the leadership there, the ill preparedness of the leadership there. I mean, it's absolutely mind-boggling how bad, how ignorant these people who were elected to public office were. But there are reasons for that too.
Yeah, I mean, your one job, you guys, as a city official, your one job is just to keep your residents safe and your businesses safe. And they couldn't even do that. That's what's so weird to me. Whenever there's like a natural disaster, and we're not sure this is a natural disaster, but let's just say it is, emergency services is your only gig, guys. Okay, you can balance the budget, you can have all your, DEI programs on the side, but guess what? You have to keep your emergency services going. And to see that fire hydrants had no water, like, what are you guys doing over there, LA? Come on.
Oh, and Gavin Newsom tried to weasel out of responding to this. This was, I mean, these things. We're going to make fun of these people, but these things are rather sickening at this point. Listen to this governor, this smug governor, talking to, I don't know, talking to CNN about the fires and the fact that there was no water coming out of a lot of their fire hydrants. Check this out.
What is the situation with the water? Obviously, in the Palisades, ran out last night in the hydrants. I was talking to the firefighter on this block. They left because there was no water in the hydrant here.
The local folks are trying to figure that out. I mean, just when you have a system that's not dissimilar to what we've seen in other extraordinarily large-scale fires, whether it be pipe, electricity, or whether it just be the complete overwhelm of the system. I mean, those hydrants are typical for 2 or 3 fires, maybe 1 fire. You have something at this scale, but again, that's going to be determined by the local.
What is the
Okay, let's start here. You have a
Ah!
huge state, you have a hugely populated area, and a state that's always getting wildfires. Things happen over there. We understand. You need to be prepared. This guy was not prepared.
No, he didn't have his press person clearly next to him. I would
Nope.
have yanked him off that camera. There's no way. Oh, we can only take care of like, 2 to 3 houses. Really? Is that why Californians pay probably some of the highest taxes in this nation so that you can only take care of 2 or 3 houses? This guy is completely incompetent. Donald Trump said it right this morning. He's got to resign. This guy is completely incompetent. And he's wearing like, some like bear emergency jacket. I love it. It's
Yeah,
like
I
this
love that.
branded emergency jacket.
Save the bears, if you will. The funny thing is, Gavin Newsom has. Here's Gavin Newsom. Here's Karen Bass, and here are most California and woke city officials, as well as woke state officials, in a nutshell. They're so busy chasing a national social agenda that they don't really care about doing the actual job, or they don't even know how to do it. They don't know anything about preparedness for disasters. They don't know how to.
Yeah.
They don't know how to budget their money properly, which we're going to get into in that respect. And they seem to want to throw all sorts of resources into these woke, pat themselves on the back ideas, like what may have caused this situation with the fire hydrants. He was diverting some water just to save some fish.
Yeah, and honestly, this is not hard. He's been governor for a long time. He knows politics. All he had to do was come out on CNN to say, look, we pray for the families. We're looking for survivors. Please let us do our job. Let emergency services do their job. That's it. Get off the stage. I mean,
Well,
this guy's been breathing in way too many fumes.
well, here's Gavin Newsom back in April 2021. I'm using this video, which obviously has Newsom then superimposed on the fires today. So this is nothing. The fires were not from 2021, but he was talking about how better prepared California is going to be under a Biden presidency.
That's what's different now is we are committed as a team, as a partnership with the legislature and other state agencies, including now the federal government, no longer a sparring partner, but a working partner. Federal government, where we're not addressing headwinds, but tailwinds in terms.
No, you're not prepared. Your federal government at that point was just a basic rubber stamp for you. In fact, you were upset because Donald Trump said years ago, years before this, that you people should have been ready for this. You take this, take these big rake machines and take care of your brush. Make sure these things don't happen, or you can at least minimize them when they do. But what were they doing? Nothing else. They were basically worrying about DEI hiring practices. They were worried about, Gavin was worried about making sure you cleaned up the an area for a communist leader like Xi Jinping coming up later on to make sure everything looks nice and clean for him. But anything else, anything that's really important that you can't pat yourself on the back on, or too difficult for the woke followers to really understand, that can go by the wayside.
Yeah, and I'm just wondering what all these displaced people are going to do. I mean, these are pretty wealthy areas, okay? I think a lot of money just left California, including Hunter Biden. Did you see his house was completely burnt down? His Hollywood hideaway, it's like down to the pillars, right? So I wonder what all these displaced people are going to do, because clearly you can't live in these areas anymore, not for years, right? Are they going to make their way north, or maybe to Texas, or maybe where I am in Florida? Maybe we can convert some of these guys. I don't know. What is the play here? I don't even understand. I can see the politics of it, but at the same time, this is currently a natural disaster that they can't contain. It's the Santa Ana winds are no joke. And anyone who has lived in California knows about them. This happens every single year, you guys, every year. And they can't take care of these things that they can predict.
They won't take care of these things. Again, they're so busy patting themselves on the back over some woke policy of the day. So they're chasing national social agendas, but ignoring the needs of their own regular people. But then again, a lot of these people put them into office for that reason.
Yeah, that I can't help. Although I do enjoy watching Democrats eat their own. Look, I don't know if I don't know if Newsom's going to survive this one. The longer these fires go, look, him putting it on the people. What do you want me to do? You want to go to my pool in the back and start, hosing down flames for you? What is he expecting residents to do in a time of emergency? This is not leadership, right?
No,
This is
as a
not
matter of
like
fact,
you go do it. No, you go do it. This is government.
right. In fact, somebody who provided a little bit more leadership, and we should congratulate him because there is a lot of good coming out of what happened. I'm not saying these things are great, but there is some good. There are some bright spots, like Steve Guttenberg. Remember the old Police Academy movies? Yeah, he was helping people out, helping move cars, and helping people evacuate in his neighborhood. And I think people like that should be commended. Whereas people like again Gavin Newsom, who really doesn't care what happens to his people, it sees the fruits of what's going on. Some people. So props to Gutenberg here for helping out his neighbors. I think that's more of that is necessary in this world. So there is some light coming out of this, and there are some good things we should acknowledge.
I wish you could save LA. I don't think there's any more saving LA, you guys. I look, prayers to the family. We really wish your safety and we hope to find safer grounds for you. This is crazy what is happening. And I can't believe that your government can't take care of its own citizens. It blows my mind. It kept me up late last night thinking about this. And I do hope that the families find safer shelters.
So if Steve Guttenberg, Mahoney, helps people out and does a great job where he is in California, that would probably make Gavin Newsom Captain Harris of all these. And of course, as we all know, Commandant Lassard will be
Boy.
leaving office very, very soon.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that man. Yeah, look, this is a nice farewell gift to leave to Californians, right? And I always look at the politics of this. There's some weird political play in all this. I don't know who is going to be the developer who's going to redevelop LA. I mean, you're talking about some of the primest real estate in the world here. That's
Crowley.
completely being leveled off.
Crowley.
What other place were there like prime real estate that was leveled off in the last year?
Oh, yes.
Look, the Gaza Strip. That was completely leveled off as well. Are you seeing a trend here?
How about Hawaii?
Malibu.
Don't forget about Hawaii.
Yep.
Maui. Yep.
Right? Just saying.
Now it gets even worse. It winds up that not only did this incompetent mayor of Los Angeles, Karen Bass, Karen,
Yes,
isn't that a great name
Bass.
for her or what? Karen. So she goes to Africa, goes to Ghana for some kind of for a ceremony. I guess it was an inauguration, and comes back to see. Well, first of all, she goes to Ghana knowing that this storm was coming, or this terrible winds were coming, and knowing that there's a potential situation here, yet doesn't care, leaves, and then finds out when she comes back that their city's burning. What makes it worse is she, as you know, cut the LAFD's budget by 17.5 million?
I heard million, but that seems really low.
17.5 million. Some are saying 20, so it's almost around somewhere between 17.5 and 20. So she comes back expecting accolades because she's a mayor who comes back and she's going to save her city. Oh yes, because she's like the cool mayor. She's gonna make sure everything's all right because that's her. Well, basically, I'm going to re-angle this a little better here. But basically, what happened with her is she was asked a real question by a reporter over this, and she froze.
Do you owe citizens an apology for being absent while their homes were burning? Do you regret cutting the fire department budget by millions of dollars, Madam Mayor? Have you nothing to say today? Have you absolutely nothing to say to the citizens today? Elon Musk says that you're utterly incompetent. Are you considering your position?
She can't go anywhere. She's stuck. She's like, get me out of this situation.
I know, it's great.
I don't understand English. That's what she's saying.
No, speaking to English too good. That's a good one.
No apology for them.
Look at her. She's so distraught. She's like, wait, you're supposed to tell me how much of a hero I am for showing up now.
While this was unfolding back home.
Oh, but I did.
Yeah, escape route, please. Get me out of here. Look, she's stuck.
Wait, where's my PR person? Oh no, get me out of here.
Ooh, that's bad. That's it. She's over. She's completely over. She's tanked. She's 100% over. Time to resign, lady. Oh my goodness. No,
She
this is
makes
it's
Bill de
beyond
Blasio look
incompetence.
competent. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Guys, these are the people you've elected. I just want to let you know that. You elected these people. They failed you. Are you going to do it again? If you do it again, it's your own damn fault. I can't help you. I'm
Uh,
sorry. I'm pissed now.
It's an embarrassment if you think about it. This mayor, Karen Bass, uh, has actually helped. Well, here's what I'm trying to say. These woke policies, these woke mayors that are trying to push, and of course woke governors, if you will, that are trying to push their national social agendas, have rendered their cities and their states either bankrupt, crime-ridden, or
Yeah.
susceptible to these disasters. We're not just talking about LA. Look at New York and Chicago. The crime there, because they insist, the electorate insists on pushing these woke people so they can all pat themselves on the back for being inclusive, or saying, well, we have kind policies. They don't care about the matter of fact stuff. It doesn't matter if they can do their job or not, because these things aren't going to happen to us.
These guys are also media trained, right? More media trained than you and I, Chris. They couldn't spit out a word or just a prepared statement. They couldn't even do that.
He was unprepared for this and unprepared for the statement. That's what happened.
It's crazy. Oh man, I'm so sorry, California. They had to deal with this, but again, let's learn from this. Let's never vote in these wokesters ever again.
Well,
Please.
let's take it back a little bit further here. Uh, I don't know exactly when this was, but it wasn't very long ago when Karen appointed
Another Karen.
the first female LGBTQ fire chief. You expect a fire chief to say, "We're going to make sure, because we're in an area where they can get a lot of wildfires, or things can happen. We have a very populated area, very traffic laden area. We want to make sure our firemen are ready. We want to make sure they're prepared. We want to make sure they're the best of the best." So here is what their new fire chief had to say about that.
I'm super inspired.
She took time out of her already busy schedule to tell us about her vision for the department's future, one that includes a 3-year strategic plan to increase diversity.
People ask me, well, what number are you looking for? I say, I'm not looking for a number. It's never enough.
Out of 30.
It's never enough. It's all they care about. Again, I heard nothing, not a single word about, well, we're going to improve our response. We're going to make sure if something bad happens, like what's been happening upstate, or what's happened close to here before happens again, we're going to make sure that our fire people are ready. We're going to make sure. I don't disparage anybody who's a woman or lesbian or anybody who can actually do the job, but to actively seek out people to fill up numbers and make sure, again, to make sure that they fill a quota, I should say, breeds incompetence, or breeds a lack of the best of the best personnel.
Yeah, between this Karen, the fire chief, and the grandma police chief of New Orleans, dude, you guys are making us look bad. Look, we just got in Rosie Cordero as Miami's new sheriff. I'm so proud of her. She's been, a police officer for I think 26 years or more. I mean, she's badass. I love her, love Rosie. But you know what? These guys are making us all look terrible. Like, we could actually do the job, females, but if you give press conferences like that, you look like an idiot. So please,
let's watch some more of this. This is absolutely hilarious and sad at the same time.
300 city firefighters, only 115 are women right now.
Okay, so the reporter goes into, well, out of all these firefighters, only 115 are women right now. We have to change that.
I mean, do you know the requirements to be a firefighter? I mean, I want someone who's going to lift me out of a burning building. Okay. I don't want some 115-pound-year-old, whatever, pulling me out of a building. I need someone who's going to be able to lift.
Hey,
guys.
if
there's
a
just
woman,
some physiology here.
Right. If a woman can do this, and I know there are some women that can actually do this job, and they have the right to do it, as long as they pass the physical,
yes,
and obviously all the physical and mental tests they have to pass here.
Yes,
that's fine. We're not saying women shouldn't be fire people, but we are saying don't just insert people in who aren't going to be able to do the job, and don't lower your standards just to increase some numbers. Here's some more.
She's already looking at ways to change that. She's quick to point out that doing so has a greater purpose, attracting the best and brightest for the job.
Wait, a greater purpose in attracting the best and brightest? I don't think so. The
Hmm.
greater purpose is DEI, which doesn't attract the greatest and brightest.
They feel included, they feel valued, and they feel part of a cohesive team.
Angie, they feel included, they feel validated, and they're now part of an inclusive team, and they're very happy about that. I am very sure the people of Los Angeles are ecstatic over this woman and her policies.
I think about this all the time, Chris, especially when Democrats vote against their own personal interests in elections, right? They keep voting for the people who keep punching them in the face and stealing their money, right? So this is another thing. You almost excuse and offset all this behavior that is bad for you as long as they fit the right gender mold or race or some other category that has nothing to do with a government job. And it's sad. We see it in industries all the time. And this is another case. But when your entire city is burning down, do you think I care what gender you are? No, just come save my cat. He's still stuck in the house. Those are the videos I was watching all night last night. It was all the pets that were burning up inside the house. It broke my heart. Go do your job. I don't care if you're male, female. I don't care what your sexual gender or what you transition to. Just do your job and put out the fires. They can't do it. They can't do it.
And again, this is prime roast, and this is a tragedy. It's hard to just make fun of what's going on. Yes, we're going to make fun of the politicians who screwed this whole thing up because they did. But again, prayers for the people who are suffering. Okay, I don't care what class they are. I don't care what their politics are. I don't care who they are. I do care that they're losing a hell of a lot, and it's really
everything.
Horrible.
People have lost everything.
Yeah, and it's very sad. Yeah, and these leaders really should be held accountable. Every single one of them should be held accountable. I'm afraid they're not going to be, but they should be.
Chris, Biden's going to offer $600 per household now, right? As recovery and relief.
It's California. They're going to double it probably. It's going to be 15.
Oh, double it. Well, what about Ukraine? How about we give them some of that money?
Oh, possibly. And of course, keep in mind, the state of California's insurance policy allowed companies to drop a bunch of homes in LA right before, a little before the fire.
It's not just California, you guys. Home insurance is being dropped out of everywhere. And you know what? Especially for fire and flood. You have to take multiple policies out for a home these days. It is crazy. And that's the number one issue that I'm looking at here in Florida is that you can't just take home insurance anymore. It's completely different now. I don't know what the play is here, but it's preventing a lot of people from being first-time home buyers or even continuing to own a home. They want you to rent. I think that's what the play is, but that's another episode.
Well, again, inflation, everything gets more expensive. Policies go up, and a lot of times insurance companies can't even find or trying to find a way to keep those huge profits, but also get the payouts going. You can't pay everybody anymore. There are too many things happening, and everything's just way too expensive at this point. Inflation again plays a huge role. Biden inflation played a huge role, and again, what does it go back to? It goes back to woke politicians who are patting themselves on the back over their nice little woke policies and being inclusive and making everybody feel so nice and touchy-feely, where they ignore doing the job they were hired to do.
Mm-hmm.
And they probably just can't do it. A lot of them are incompetent. A lot of them are just ignoring it.
Amen.
On the other nose, maybe some good news. As you know, Facebook has decided to go the free speech route. And on the surface, you have Zuckerberg, who, and I think everybody's heard the speech by now. He wants to go a little more into the X model, whereas you take away those lefty fact checkers from you remember when you used to post something on Facebook, there's some of these fact checkers like, well, that's not true. The Russian collusion hoax is real. Or, oh, that's not true. Jussie Smollett, what he said was real.
Oh yeah. Correcting editors.
Yeah. Those people, he's going the route of the community notes. This way people can say, wait a minute, this article said this, and that's fair because you can actually go research it yourself. But I don't trust anybody who runs these social media companies. I know he's going with the political wins. What I do enjoy, however, is all these lefties getting so uptight about it. And it's absolutely hilarious. It is, again, when somebody pisses off the right people, we have to give them credit. Who who gets more in a tizzy about these things than disseminators of disinformation themselves, our friends over at CNN. Yeah. So Brian Stelter did an interview shortly after Zuckerberg's speech, and he's just really upset about this whole thing. Look how angry he is. See that? By the way, Brian Stelter's the George Costanza of
Oh, geez. He
commentary.
does look like him, but a little more polished.
Yeah, but remember, it's the Costanza mantra. It's not a lie if you believe it.
Oh, geez.
It gets to
Oh,
this
geez.
broader sense that when people like Elon Musk or Mark Zuckerberg talk about free speech, everybody wants free speech, but it oftentimes seems that these tech CEOs actually are favoring or preferring a certain kind of speech, right? They're favoring their own speech or their own political preferences and not the actual entire user or the community's speech.
Wait, you were happy about that before. In fact, I remember many of your reliable sources disseminating such disinformation and telling the entire nation it was fact. Boy, that Russian collusion hoax. Well, he's an asset of Russia. Donald Trump did this. Donald Trump. Oh yes. Oh, what? The kid from what the heck was the name? The kid with the red hat and the guy yelling at him.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, he
Yep, that guy.
perpetrated this guy perpetrated so many hoaxes, and no fact checker, or at least no fact checker that was allowed to do so, challenged him. He got to say anything he wanted without with all that. But now he's upset because things that he does and says are going to be called out. Let's hear a little more.
You know, the changes announced by Meta today are very much a MAGA makeover, a pro-Trump makeover. And that's going to win Meta some conservative users, but it may repel some liberals. That's the same thing we've seen happen on Elon Musk's X.
Oh, it will repel liberals, of course, because they don't like being challenged.
Yeah. So, Chris, about 8 years ago, I went to the Facebook headquarters in Manhattan, and I went to the fact-checking department at 4 p.m. Okay. I forget what day it was. It was a work day. There was no one home. Not a single desk was occupied. And then we learned all of the stuff is outsourced to a third party. You know what? I went down the rabbit hole. I found out who these third-party vendors were that Facebook was hiring. Oh, yeah. I mean, I checked out their resumes. I looked at exactly who they were. They were professors in woke colleges. They were like PhD students. That's who they were hiring to fact check Americans, not just Americans, the whole world, right? And they clearly, if you look at their pictures, you know exactly who they voted for. That's what they were doing. And you know why they did it through a third-party vendor? So that they can skip liability, so that they can say that person did it. Wasn't Facebook, don't sue us. Not that they could under Section 230 anyway. They just wanted the middleman so that they can say, nope, it wasn't us. It was that guy who we hired. But you know what? This has to stop right now, because what we're seeing is that people like Brian Spitzer and other journalists, they're using information coming off of Twitter, X, and calling it a source. Oh, the sources say, well, guess what? When you also manufacture that source, then it's not really a source, is it? You're just manufacturing media. And that whole thinking of journalism has to stop, because this is a complete disservice to every single person.
Well, this is another thing. The fact checkers on Facebook, especially, were the equivalent of that kid in the playground when you told him when you told him a fact, like Donald Trump didn't say use a rake to rake a little tiny rake to rake up the brush in California. The fact checkers would be that kid going, nuh-uh, he said to use a rake, and that's what he said, and that's it, and you should be banned for correcting me.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Look, it's, who owns the truth these days? And Elon Musk certainly has that button. When he shut down several accounts on Christmas Day, I don't know if you followed that story, Chris. A lot of people got very, very, very angry about it. They lost their check marks. But you know what? It turned out to be a great story, a great expose on who were being paid to push certain stories. One thing for an influencer to push selling sneakers, another thing for an influencer to be pushed selling news that affects everybody, the way we live, the way we vote, the way we spend our money. That's different. We need disclaimers.
And one more. Yeah, Stelter did say that the liberals, the lefties, were getting all turned off from this because, again, the fact checkers favored them, and now anybody who can actually, or real fact checkers, the community will correct them with a little less consequence because they'll actually have facts behind them. You can actually put an article there and show them how wrong they are, or a couple articles, that sort of thing. Again, from better sources. But I will digress from that. The idea is they're going to leave so they can just form their own bubble. This is why you have a new that thing called Blue Sky or Blue Ski or whatever it is, which is not only the Jonestown of social media, it's the children's table of social media. They can go yap along, have their macaroni and cheese, and lie to each other and just uh, close their ears when the truth comes out and go yam 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 yeah. That's not what they say on Blue Ski. Yam 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 yeah. That's exactly what they do.
I should get an account there. I just want to see what the hell's going
Yeah,
on.
for fun. You got to have a few laughs every once in a while.
Yeah.
So you want to
I-
hear what Joy Reid said about all of this? Because
yes, always.
what is life if you don't get to hear from Joy Reid?
Oh, there she is. Oh,
mean,
she looks different.
Yeah, I am so sad she left X because it's very hard to it's very hard to live on without seeing her account. Luckily, people post some of her garbage here anyway. So, libs of TikTok, thank you for watching them for us. Here she is whining about this whole thing about these biased fact checkers being given the boot.
Why would conservatives think fact checking is biased against them? I mean, what are you sharing if you keep getting fact checked?
That's the funny thing. See, she's trying to. This is the game they play. This is the little stunt they pull. A fact checker to them is somebody who is unarbitrarily the de facto source for absolutely everything. Like what, that lap dancer in Snopes. That's just
Yeah. Yeah.
the one that took like several years to fact check the very fine people hoax that these people were perpetrating over the years. Oh yeah, all these lies about foreign leaders too. These lies about Marie Le Pen, all these other people protecting George Soros all these years and saying, "Nah, George Soros wasn't a Nazi sympathizer, even though he helped the Nazis." This is what we're up against, and these people think, well, they're fact checkers, and they're labeled as fact checkers, so they're always putting the facts. This woman's not a journalist or a commentator; she's a parrot.
Yeah. Have we ever looked into who these fact checkers actually are? They're bought and paid for media. So you can buy articles, you guys, and then all of a sudden it becomes a fact. And that's what we're seeing. We were seeing a lot of news aggregators pushing up the facts. So they were using SEO tools so that, the very first thing, if you search, I don't know, Elon Musk, is an article that was purchased and put onto MSN, for example, or any particular topic of the day. That's why trending topics, you'll always see in the first page of a Google search, the fact checkers version.
Oh, yeah.
That's the sad part.
And they usually have some kind of website name called 100%factchecky.com or I
Yes.
am right and you're wrong.com. Yes, okay, I'm making up some of these, but this is the gist. And I know the fact checkers are going to be, there isn't really a site
It's
that
all
says I'm
bots.
right and you're wrong.com.
Yeah, but this is all one big machine, you guys. And that's what she's laughing at because someone has thrown a wrench into the machine. She can't keep pushing out her BS anymore because, oh, guess what? We're going to just fact check her. She doesn't want to be fact checked.
No.
In fact, anything that she said in the last 5 years that she's been on MSNBC, if anyone fact checked her now, man, she would have liabilities all over the place. This is what really, really bothers me. This is the core of what I believe in. If any of this stuff happened offline, she would be arrested because these crimes are committed online and it's protected by Section 230. She has pure immunity. That's what bothers me. These are offline crimes that are being committed online.
Joy Reid is the reason why people seem to think we're going to take Greenland by military force.
Oh, geez.
She went into a tizzy over the Trump the Trump press conference from Tuesday, like a lot of liberals did. I love watching them get so seethed over this. No one's going to use the military to take over Greenland. There's no way. But let's hear some more from old Joyless.
Think about it. What were conservatives sharing on Meta that was getting flagged so much?
The truth, by the
Were
way.
they spreading false information?
Okay. So she is laughing at some people she believes is spreading false information when she made a career of such.
Thank you.
Her career is based on spreading lies, based on spreading the Russian collusion hoax, based on getting haircuts like Donald Trump. Yes, I remember that haircut.
Really?
Yes,
I didn't know that one.
She actually looked like Donald Trump at one point with that. She had the same haircut. I
Really?
remember this little.
Oh, wow.
I think it was last year, or yeah, it was last year or the year before. My years are messed up around January and December. By the way, that always happens.
No.
Having said that, oh yeah, the Russian collusion hoax. Did I say that? Did I say Jesse Smollett?
Yeah, exactly. Well, look, she's hanging out at home. Where's her studio? She's wearing like a koozie. What are they? Those like blanket things that you wear your blanket, but it's like looks like a big sweatshirt. I got one of those for Christmas. I was like, really? But they were actually really comfortable if you're just hanging out at home. But that's what she wears to like give us a lecture on fact checking on Facebook and like how conservatives likes to push their own facts. Oh man, we're such a mess. We are a messy country right now.
Oh, we're pretty awful at this point as far as a big mess in the turmoil. But I think that's what the politicians want. They like to keep us divided. Yes, we like to make a fat lot of fun out of all of them. So I guess it's partly our fault too. But let's go to another show that decided to debate over this free speech issue because they despise free speech. That is The View. The View was really talking about this again. They had.
Wow.
Oh, is that the wrong picture? Nope, that's the right picture.
That's the right picture. Love it.
But they were getting all antsy with each other over the Zuckerberg speech and the waning of the lying fact checkers. They got really upset about that. So let's watch them.
I'm just curious because human rights activists warn that this is a major step back that'll have misinformation, conspiracy theories, and bigotry running wild on the site.
Oh, you mean like it did before with the Russian collusion hoax? And like it did before with the Jesse Smollett hoax? We can go again those lines. I'm repeating this over and over again, but the lies and the conspiracy theories were actually being allowed on social media before this. And they weren't allowed to be contested on social media. You couldn't even say, well, I can't really say this. I have to spell it out. The JA, you know what, might have some effects on the side.
Yeah, look, these girls don't have a show unless they can spill a lot of misinformation, because misinformation to them equals entertainment. They like seeing people squirm. They live in a fantasy where you have to have good versus evil, and they've made MAGA people evil all day long. So they can't do that anymore. Oh, I'm so sorry. There's a thing called liability, and a lot of lawyers giving you scripts, Whoopi, to read in case you overstep. So that's where we are now. This is a new dawn. I can't wait.
Let's watch this a little more.
My question is, when did fact checking become a bad thing?
Since Donald Trump became president.
Yes. Absolutely.
Well, she's so clever, isn't she?
I have said from the beginning that the worst thing that he has done is cause this misinformation and lying going on.
Alternative facts.
This alternative facts that Kellyanne Conway.
Wait, hold on a second. Isn't this, Angie, the woman? Oh, sorry. Aren't these the women who constantly have to read disclaimers because of their constant misinformation?
Yeah, they forget that every which time. Look, they're catering to a particular audience. Their audience is dwindling. They don't, but they have to keep pushing it because it's that audience that wants to abuse the other side over and over again. They find it to be entertaining. That's the weird part of all this. They're not news, you guys. They're entertainment. They're entertainers, and they don't mind reading from a false script. And that should be the disclaimer, that this is a movie that you guys are watching. Nothing they're saying is real. And if you take it to be real, well, that's where, the lines are crossed. But I think a full disclaimer to say they're reading off a script is very necessary for this. This is not even the news.
Yeah. She said alternative facts. This guy Zuckerberg, I saw the movie, wasn't it Social Network?
Yeah. Yes.
Where he says basically, I'm creating Facebook so people have a community, so that people can talk to each other. All of a sudden, it's become this big thing and a big lying machine that's going on.
Don't worry, that's going to stop. It's become a big lying machine because of these fact checkers, lady.
Yeah. No, they don't like an ounce of their own medicine. Yeah, guess what? Trifecta, Chris. We've got the White House, the House, and the Senate now. So I don't know. There's this thing called the FCC, and Joy and all the views of the girls better start looking at the rules of the FCC, because I think you've crossed the line somewhere.
No, I say keep these guys around, because the more that you have people like this speaking for the left, the more they look that stupid. And
I actually have that jacket. I was wearing that exact jacket the other day. Oh, interviewing Tom Holman, my favorite
there you
guy.
go. Yes, and that's another good one. He's the right guy for that job. Let's hear some more.
Yeah.
And the wokeness is what is at the bottom of this.
Yeah, I just want to say, I'm sorry. If being woke is a bad thing, that means that the fact that I care about you, regardless of what you say or who you are, I want to make sure your family is as well off as mine is. That's too woke.
That's not woke, by the way. Woke is you do as I say, or else you're a bigot and a racist.
Yeah, they have, they can't fact check themselves. Right? They don't understand the definition of being woke. That's okay, Whoopi. It's fine. You're old.
It's too woke for me to say to you, hey, listen, if you don't want your kids reading this, maybe the best thing to do is let's go to the library together, and I'll tell the librarian what I don't mind my kids reading, and then you can tell the librarian what you don't want your kids to read. That's too woke.
Well, the new rules on Meta, Facebook, they're imperfect. I will say this. I think it's a balance between content moderation, free speech, and fact checking. And what I think Facebook has gotten wrong for some time is they've had third-party fact checkers, but then Facebook Meta would ultimately make a decision on, can this content be on? Oftentimes fact checkers can't, or these staffers at Facebook can have biases. I actually think, listen, X has become a hellhole for a lot of reasons, but I think that community notes actually work. You have to cite your source.
Let me interrupt you. What does free speech have to do with fact checking?
Because it's imperfect. It's not as simple as the sky is blue, the grass is green. We know the facts on that. Sometimes it comes into opinions or viewpoints. This is still a town square. I tend to be.
But and look at Joy. Look at that face on Joy Behar. She's thinking, yes, but my opinions are the facts. My point of view is what's right, not yours, not anybody else's, unless they agree with me. And she's actually looking at this woman like that.
Yeah, she should be looking at her lawyers like that. Chris, how much longer do you think the show is going to go on for? I mean, do you think The View can continue to spill this kind of hatred going forward into 2025 even? I mean, I don't know if they have any real, other than us, we're only watching The View to make fun of them. Do they know that?
Well, apparently, maybe we're the ones at fault for actually making fun of them and maybe giving them an extra stage. It's not just us. I wouldn't even know what these people have said at any time unless I saw these clips on the internet. So maybe we're the ones at fault. And people like us are at fault for giving these people more airtime than they should have.
It's definitely us.
But they did wind up having a bit of a cat fight about the whole thing. But look at that. She's like, how dare you bring up another point of view?
Be a free speech absolutist as long as it's not harming someone else.
Know the difference between an opinion and a fact. We do
it
every
every
day.
day. A lot of this can be viewpoints where somebody could say, well, this is my viewpoint on it. And they were moderating things around language you used around certain issues. But to the point I was saying, community notes actually work. They have to be cited to sources. My issue is the algorithms. These tech companies are run by billionaires. They're completely unaccountable. Congress hasn't regulated tech in over 30 years, and they can push what you're seeing more of. They can hold back what you're not seeing. And that to me is the biggest issue. But we can complain about it all we want. We need to tell Congress that they need to also get involved.
Yeah,
Good
they
luck.
absolutely do.
That's a funny thing. She's actually right about this.
She is.
Yes.
But Chris, you have members of Congress who still print out their emails to read them, right? So how do you expect these dinosaurs to regulate our future and our present? I don't know. We need some younger blood in Congress. I agree with her. Congress does need to do something about this, to give them a blanket Section 230 that makes everyone immune to what they're saying, and these tech companies completely not held to any sort of accountability. It was a terrible deal. We got to get the lobbyists out of this conversation, because that's really who messed this up for everybody. They can't walk it back now. Zuckerberg can't just go online and apologize. You've messed up an entire generation, you guys. We got to make that stop. We have to have new blood in Congress who understands what kind of bills they're actually passing.
Bottom line, the fact checkers weren't really disseminating facts. They were protecting the misinformation. It got to that point, especially during the Trump presidency and maybe a couple of years into the Biden presidency, until people, even in the middle, were looking at this and saying, this really doesn't make sense. Community notes are better. They do have to be cited, and I do like that. That's a much better idea and it's going to upset the lefties because they had it their way for such a long time. They had it like, we're lefties. What we say is fact, and that's it. And if you don't believe me, you're a bigot and a racist. That tide is turning.
It is turning. Community notes is not going to be the answer, you guys. There's a lot more work that we need to do to make sure that the truth comes out. Let's bring back 3 sources. Let's bring back using the word alleged. Let's do all the old journalist stuff that we used to do to get a little bit to the truth. We're never going to get straight to the truth. Look, Chris, you and I, we probably can't put community notes. You know why? There's actually a bar to be able to post community notes. We can't just pop on to like, and believe me, they're hiring armies. It's probably the old fact checkers to put on these community notes every time you speak anyway. So, nothing is true. We live in the age of media manufacturing. We do. And unfortunately, most of us are not media literate to recognize that, and we live our lives by it. This is a real cancer, you guys. And I hope that one day we can put an end to all that. We do need to go back to some elements of truth, not just what's being manufactured.
On a lighter note, Angie, you heard the Trump press conference earlier in the week, and he put so many people in a tizzy over this Panama Canal deal. We can go do a whole entire show on Panama Canal. We'll do a serious one. Maybe you'll join us on Wake Up Patriots for that with Tony Schaefer. But on the silly side, these lefties were in a tizzy over, Trump wants to take Greenland by force. He wants to make Canada the 51st state. Oh my God, I don't know what to do. It's making me so sad.
Oh boy. Yeah, I love it. I love it. They're crying every day. We should let them cry. They should cry it out.
And they believe they're clever by quipping about this and saying, Trump is stupid. The fact is, he's not. He's making fun of all of you people by saying these things. He's making fun of Justin Trudeau, who, yeah, as you all know, he
bye-bye.
he bye-byed himself, if you will. But check this one out. This crazy lady here who looks like Liz Cheney's mousy voiced doppelganger.
Yep.
Who is telling us she's trying to be clever about the whole thing and trying to say, well, I'm going to get back at Donald Trump for saying those horrible things. And again, this is from Rebel Media. They were kind enough to post this because you don't get to see a lot of this in America. Oh, it was a Rebel News, Rebel News posted this. But this, I don't even know this woman's name. She's like some kind of official in Canada that gets saying, well, why don't we take California? Oh, and why don't we take Washington and Oregon? So she's trying to be cool and clever and all this. But again, she looks a lot like Liz Cheney, doesn't she?
Doppelganger, absolutely.
Let's hear it.
Hey, Donald, have we got a deal for you? You think we want to be the 51st state? Nah, but maybe California would like to be the 11th province. How about it? California, Oregon, Washington, you've got geography in common with us. And not only that, we've already got a carbon trading system between California and Quebec. We've got some strong alliances on our west coast from British Columbia.
All right, before this woman goes on, again, and I've asked this before, why do lefties continue to try to talk to people like they're in first grade or kindergarten? They have that attitude like, look, and California is we have an agreement with them and we share some geography. Oh my God, it's why don't you become the 11th province?
I'm going to say something a little bit controversial here, but have you heard of like the gay accent? You know what that
Yeah.
is, right?
The fake gay accent, the one with the uniform accent that you're supposed to have to
Yeah.
make yourself I get that. Yes,
That's
I've
what
seen
this
that.
is. This is
The
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 lefty
liberal accent.
accent.
Yep.
They have a lefty accent that because these guys never ever graduated from second grade. They're stuck emotionally in second grade, so they have to talk this way.
It's their uniform. It
It is, I
it's part of
think.
the and she's got the uniform on too. It's that, they usually have the same hairstyle. I'm not sure if the glasses are
The
fake, but a lot of these
glasses.
people wear fake glasses, and they have to be a certain way. And yes, everything about this woman screams. I know she looks like Liz Cheney, but everything about her screams stereotype lefty, especially out of Canada. Here's some more.
A lot of academic papers on the idea of Cascadia. So California, Governor Newsom, and Washington State, Jay Inslee, and newly elected Governor of Oregon, Tina Kotek. How about it? Want to put a referendum to your citizens? Because this is what you deal. Have we got a deal for you? This.
There you go. That snarkiness, the smirk on her face. Fact is, you know what? You can have Newsom. You can have Portland if you want. And yes, you can have Seattle.
She's trying. This is like a throwdown with Donald Trump, right? She's trying to throw down with him.
A mini
This
wimpy
is like
version of
I'm not
throwdown.
even like. And she's like baby mobster trying to like, yeah, no, not happening, lady. In fact, you've been roasted.
This woman roasts herself. But again, you want Newsom, you can have him. There we go. Take Karen
I think
Bass with
he'd
you,
be
too.
willing to go there now because he's pretty much out of a job in California. There's no saving the fires. So yeah, take Newsom, take the fire chief, take the LA mayor, take every one of them. Open door policies. I bet they would want to run away to Canada after Trump gets into office next week. I think they're going to need a safe place to go to. So do open up your doors, Canada. I'm sure that, they're looking for new homes, probably because theirs burnt down.
Exactly. And by the way, we'll make a nice trade. You can have Canada, you can have Oregon. Oh, okay. Well, not all of Canada, Oregon. You can take the coastal lefty portions of Canada and Portland. You can take Seattle. We want to take men without hats. We'll take them. They're cool. Bring in some of the NHL teams. We like them. You guys can't support them because you tax the players too much. And I want a nice a truckload of syrup. You can have the lefties
Syrup.
portions of those states for that. How about that? And you know what? Give us all the Bob and Doug McKenzie tapes as well.
I'll take the archives. Oh, very cute. Very
Oh,
cute.
Angie, it's been another great roast today. Thanks for doing this with all of us roasters, and the roasters, thanks for being with us. We're going to keep doing that in the future. Roast Nation, if you will.
Roast Nation, Happy New Year's, everyone. We'll see you next week. Thank you. And everyone in LA, thoughts and prayers. Please stay safe.